What if the number on your scale has been lying to you? Not in the way you might think. Not because the scale is broken, but because that number, the one you've been stepping on and judging yourself by, possibly for decades, only tells a fraction of the story. And after 60, the fraction it leaves out might be the most important part. Here's what I mean. Most people assume that if their weight is stable, they're doing okay. And if they're a few pounds heavier than they'd like, the answer is simple. Eat less, move more, get the number down. That logic feels solid. It's what we've all been taught. But the National Institutes of Health has something specific to say about weight after 60 that turns that assumption on its head. And one piece of it in particular is something most people have never heard explained properly. Stay with me. Because this changes not just how you think about your weight, but how you think about your body and what it actually needs from you right now. I want to start by saying something clearly before we go any further. Whatever your weight is right now, whatever your history with it has been, there's no shame in this conversation. Aging is genuinely complicated. Your body has been through a lot, and the information most of us received about weight management was designed for younger bodies, not for the specific and very real changes that happen as we move through our 60s, 70s, and beyond. The National Institute on Aging, part of the NIH, one of the most authoritative medical research institutions in the United States, has put together guidance specifically for older adults on why weight changes as we age, why it matters, and what we can actually do about it in a way that's realistic and sustainable. And what comes through that guidance clearly is this. Managing your weight after 60 is not simpler than it was when you were younger. It's more nuanced. And nuance requires a different kind of understanding than a number on a scale can give you. Let's start with something that a lot of people feel but don't always have words for. The sense that their body doesn't respond the way it used to. That they're eating roughly the same things they've always eaten, moving in roughly the same ways, and yet something has shifted. Weight that wasn't there before has appeared. Or weight they expected to maintain is dropping in ways that feel concerning. Both of those experiences are real, and both have the same root cause. As we age, metabolism changes. Metabolism is simply the process your body uses to convert food into energy. And as that process shifts with age, the calorie balance your body needs to stay at its current weight shifts with it. For some people, this means the same eating habits that kept weight stable for 20 years now gradually add pounds without any obvious change in behavior. For others, and this is something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, weight begins to drop without any intention behind it. Here's where most people get it wrong. They assume the concern is always about weighing too much. But the NIH is explicit. Being underweight carries its own serious health risks for older adults. If your weight drops too low, your risk of developing osteoporosis increases. That's the condition where bones become fragile and more prone to fracturing. Your risk of anemia rises, and critically, your ability to recover from illness or infection becomes significantly more limited. Your body needs reserves, not excess, but reserves. And there's something else in the NIH guidance that I want to make sure lands clearly. Sudden, unintended weight loss, losing weight rapidly without trying to, can be a signal of a serious underlying medical condition. We're talking about things like certain cancers, gastrointestinal disorders, and even some neurological diseases. If you or someone you love is experiencing that kind of unexplained weight loss, that conversation needs to happen with a doctor. Not next month, soon. Now let's talk about the other side. Because for many older adults, the concern runs in the opposite direction. Weight that has accumulated over time, or weight that keeps creeping up despite genuine efforts to manage it. And here the NIH is equally clear. Carrying excess weight, what they measure through body mass index or BMI, increases the risk of developing heart disease, high blood pressure, stroke, and diabetes. These are not abstract risks. These are conditions that directly affect your independence, your mobility, your ability to stay active and present in the lives of the people you love. But here's where it gets genuinely interesting. And this is the part I mentioned at the beginning, the part that challenges what most of us assume about weight. The NIH makes a point that is subtle but important. The number on the scale, and even the BMI number you get from an online calculator, only tells part of the story. Here's why. An older adult who is technically at a normal weight on the scale may actually have more body fat and less muscle than someone who is slightly above the normal weight range. Two people can weigh exactly the same and have very different body compositions. And for older adults, muscle is not just a vanity concern, it is a functional necessity. This is why doctors rarely explain this clearly, because the conversation usually starts and ends with the number. But what the body is made of matters just as much as how much it weighs. And aging, by its nature, is associated with muscle loss. The NIH states this directly. For adults at every weight, aging is connected to a gradual decline in muscle mass. This makes certain physical activities harder. It affects balance. It affects how easily you can get up from a chair, carry groceries, climb stairs, recover from a fall. The question isn't just what does the scale say? The question is, what is your body made of, and is it giving you what you need to live the way you want to live? This next part is why staying with me until now has really mattered. We've talked about why weight changes. We've talked about the risks on both ends of the spectrum. We've established that the number on the scale is incomplete information. But now I want to talk about the piece that actually gives you something to do with all of this. The piece that turns understanding into action. The NIH recommends that older adults aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity per week. That sounds like a lot when you say it all at once, but break it down and it becomes something very different. That's roughly 22 minutes a day, or 5 30-minute sessions spread across the week, or 10 15-minute walks. You don't have to do it all in one block. You don't have to do it in a gym. The NIH is clear on this. Gardening counts, swimming counts, dancing counts, even vigorous housework, vacuuming, scrubbing, carrying laundry counts. The goal is to move enough that your heart rate rises and you work up a light sweat. That's the threshold. And what you do to reach it can be something you actually enjoy. And this is important. Staying physically active as an older adult isn't just about weight. It's about maintaining the muscle mass that lets you keep doing everything you care about. Keeping up with grandchildren, going on trips, driving yourself where you want to go, feeling steady on your feet. Every minute of movement you invest is not just burning calories, it's maintaining your independence. That's not a small thing. That's everything. Now let's talk about food, because the NIH is clear that you can't separate weight management from what you eat. And the guidance here is not about restriction or deprivation. It's about pattern. The recommendation is to follow an eating pattern rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, low-fat dairy, and lean proteins. Not a specific diet with a name attached to it. Not a program you have to purchase. A pattern, which means most of the time, most of your meals are built around these kinds of foods. It leaves room for everything else. It just means the foundation is solid. For those trying to lose weight, the approach is about creating a modest calorie deficit, eating slightly less than your body burns, while staying as physically active as possible. The NIH suggests some practical tools for this: paying attention to portion sizes, swapping higher calorie foods for nutrient-rich alternatives, staying well hydrated with water rather than sugary drinks, setting specific and realistic goals rather than vague intentions, and keeping a food diary. That last one tends to surprise people with what it reveals. Most of us underestimate what we eat, not because we're being dishonest with ourselves, but because so much of eating is habitual and automatic. Writing it down, even informally, brings it into conscious awareness. For those on the other side of this, those who need to gain weight or prevent further loss, the approach looks different. The NIH suggests adding foods with healthy fats, like avocados and peanut butter, which are calorie-dense in a way that's nutritionally valuable. Eating smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day if a large portion feels overwhelming. Adding nutrient-dense snacks, nuts, cheese, dried fruit, between meals. And something that might not sound like health advice but genuinely is: eating with other people. Sharing meals with family or friends makes the experience more enjoyable, and research consistently suggests that people eat better and more adequately when they're not eating alone. And through all of this, whether you're trying to lose, gain, or simply maintain, the NIH emphasizes one thing above everything else: talk to your doctor before making significant changes. Healthy weight ranges for older adults are different from those for younger people. Your individual health picture, your medications, your existing conditions, your bone density, your muscle mass, shapes what healthy actually looks like for you. A number on a scale or a chart can't account for all of that. Your doctor can. Here's what I want you to carry with you after this. Your weight is not a moral score. It's not a measure of how hard you've tried or how much you deserve good health. It's a data point, one data point among many, and it has to be understood in context. The context of your age, the context of your activity level, the context of what your body is made of, not just how much it weighs. After 60, the goal isn't the number you weighed at 35. The goal is a body that has enough muscle to keep you strong, enough reserves to help you recover, enough energy to show up for the moments that matter. A body that lets you walk into a room under your own power, do the things you love, and stay present in the lives of the people who need you. That goal is achievable, not through dramatic overhauls or programs that make you feel like you're starting over at zero, through consistent, realistic choices that compound over time. A little more movement than yesterday, one smarter food swap this week, a conversation with your doctor about where your numbers actually stand and what they mean for you specifically. None of this requires perfection. It requires direction. And now you have a clearer sense of what direction looks like. In the next video, we're going to go deep on something that connects directly to everything we talked about today. The role of protein specifically in preserving muscle as we age, why most older adults aren't getting enough of it, and the practical ways to change that without turning every meal into a math problem. If today's conversation opened something up for you, that one is going to take it further in a way that I think you'll find genuinely useful. If this channel is giving you clarity where there used to be confusion, consider subscribing. Everything here is built for people who want to understand their bodies, make informed choices, and age with strength rather than uncertainty. There's a lot more coming, and I think you'll want to be here for it. Take good care of yourself. You're worth the effort.